And we're live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Coffin Cast number 12. I'm back. It's been a while, but I think we're ready to do this. I have Egal Matrus with me. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Hell yeah. All right, give me a second. So we are going to be talking about the Muslim ban, hashtag Muslim ban, and the boycott Starbucks thing. So let's start with the Muslim ban. This has been trending for a while now. This conversation, people are having it, people are arguing, people aren't listening to what the other people are saying.
Oh yeah, they never do.
No. I mean, it's basically people just shouting at each other on the internet and not even listening to what the other person says.
Has it been anything else for the last 2 years?
No, it really hasn't actually. It's been quite the same, just like this. But I mean, I think it's increased. I mean, people are just now shouting talking points without actually having a conversation.
Oh yes, the tension has definitely risen. I mean, that's why we're at the point now where people are just outright punching each other and then defending it as being okay.
Right. Oh, well, he's a Nazi, so that's why violence is permitted. But wait, I mean, is he committing violence against you? Are you defending yourself? No, you're just being an asshole.
Yeah, and then they try to use I've seen quite a few people try to use the excuse like, oh, well, my grandfather fought Nazis. And it's like, well, that was during a time of legal war. Do you not understand the difference?
Right. And it's insane to me. It's just, I don't understand it. Because we have now. Here's the thing. Now, what was that guy's name? Richard Spencer, was that his name?
Something like that. Yeah.
That guy. He is admittedly like a white nationalist or some shit like that. But there are people that aren't white nationalists that are being called. Oh, I heard Hangouts notification.
Oh, yeah. No. Try turning that off. I just usually have it near me so I can hear my girlfriend when she messages me.
Okay. So you have your leash.
Well, she's in the Netherlands, so yeah, I don't get to talk to her often.
I get you. I'm a MGTOW. No, I'm kidding.
I'm not. I'm the exact opposite. I keep running straight back to that plantation.
Right. But anyway, so I mean, SJWs and everything call me a Nazi. I mean, Bering's called Tim a Nazi. Does that mean everybody deserves to just get punched? I mean,
By
it was
definition, hilarious. You can, yeah. Which is it? Yeah. It is hilarious. And we took the test today, and we've proven we're not far right. So screw that.
Definitely. I am just very barely leaning right.
You just got to change the question. You'll be on the left.
Right. Just one question. I'll be like, oh shit, I'm a liberal. So, okay. So the Muslim ban thing. Okay. So everyone gets it wrong. It's not a ban of all Muslims coming into the United States. It's people from countries that have now been declared failed states, a list that Obama compiled when he did a short temporary, visa stay or something like that, where he was like, guess what? Nobody from these countries can get visas to here for this short of time.
Yeah, they like to ignore that.
They really
Obama
do.
Did that.
Yeah, he did that, and it was the same list of countries. A guy named Unknown has joined the call. Is that I Am the King 48? Yeah, he did that, and it was the same list of countries.
Oh, we lost him.
And he's gone.
No idea who that was. That stranger.
That was really weird. Okay, so I mean, it's the same list of countries. It's the same basic thing, except the media is sensationalizing it, and so are the liberals.
Yeah, and it's only what, 90 days? It's not like it's forever.
Yeah, it was only 90 days. And then we have federal judges now standing in the way, and it's just an insane mess.
It is.
So what do you think about the Muslim ban? Do you think it's something that we should be keeping? Do you think it's something we should be fighting for? Or what do you think?
I think it is an excellent thing to do at this particular time, just to allow the ones that are there a little more time for integration and to sort out their process that they're going through to vet them and get them in. Because obviously, Obama was rather lax on that, from what I could tell.
Mm-hmm.
Especially near the end there, when he was kind of doing everything he could to screw Trump before he got in.
Right, like the troops on the Russian border.
Yeah, and the $220 million parting gift to Pakistan, things like that.
Yeah. Very nearly viral, says I'm watching shitting.
Hashtag free shitting.
Now we see your face.
Oh, okay. I don't know how to work this out correctly.
There's a button for camera on there.
Okay.
Well, you're pretty dark, so it's kind of like having one of those.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, you're off now. It was almost like seeing Undoomed, but the black version.
I was just thinking of those old interviews from the 90s when like they changed the voice and they had the lighting so you can't see the face.
Exactly. It was just like that.
I'm way too young for that.
So welcome. I am the King 48.
Sorry, I'm stuttering. Just first time I've ever done this.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry,
welcome.
we'll be gentle.
Yeah, we'll be gentle. I'm just thinking, yeah. It's okay, baby.
It's all right.
Did Obama?
Wait, so how far are we talking about the Muslim ban? Like, were you on the federal judges?
Well, okay, so we were talking about the basic concept of it, and then the basic concept of the federal judges standing in the way of it. What do you have to say?
Well, I don't really know much about the federal judges. When I was researching, I was basically focused on why, like, countries like Saudi Arabia or Egypt. So I know more about that than what the federal judges are doing.
Okay, so basically, you're questioning why aren't these other Muslim countries taking in these refugees?
Yeah, that was my biggest concern.
I definitely agree with that. That's a very good question. What do you think, Igal?
I was curious why. What is it? Which country is this? Not serious. Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia that has that.
Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and I think another one.
There's the one that they have like the huge, all those tents that could take millions of people in, and it's like air conditioned tents. Like you're not going to get better than that anywhere I've seen.
Right. Yeah.
One explanation that I saw is that that Saudi and Egypt have an established government, so a way to keep track of the citizens. So immigrants or refugees from there would it be easier to vet? Apparently, the other 7 countries don't really have that established of a government, especially Syria.
Because they're failed states.
In the middle of civil war.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the reason why we picked those countries, is because they're failed states. We can't vet anybody coming from them. We don't know who's who. And these liberals are just going off on a tangent. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It's so racist. It's so racist. No, it's not racist. I promise you. It's to keep us safe.
It's not even a race.
Right. Right. It's not even a race.
Defense, most Muslims are brown.
Right. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. But we're not doing it because we hate brown people. We're doing it because there is an ideology that is just as much a handbook at destroying governmental systems as it is a religion of peace.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what it is. What's the chat going on about? Let's see. Trump has tentative worked a deal for a Saudi safe space. Yeah, I heard something about. Well, I mean, I read a headline somewhere. I didn't actually look at the article. Do you guys know anything about that?
Yeah. Apparently, Trump. Either Trump or the king called one another and Trump negotiated a deal for the Syrian refugees to be settled either in Syria or Saudi Arabia in safe zones protected by both their militaries until the ban is lifted in like 90 days.
Yeah. So, I mean, why is everybody crying? I don't understand why everybody's...
Well, because Trump did it. That to be honest, that's all it is to it. Anything he does, they're going to whine about. The
Impression Olympics.
Like today, did you hear about like the attack at the mosque in Quebec yesterday? Just as an example, Sean King is tweeting out how that is Trump's fault.
Yeah,
somehow
because of his dangerous rhetoric. That's what he's trying to say. And
but it makes no sense. Like if you understand Quebec, they don't like people who don't speak French. That is they're basically our Texas, right down to wanting to separate and everything. Like they are.
One of them was a Muslim too.
Well, I heard that one was just apparently a witness. It's very hard to trust the Canadian media because they will cover up anything to do with what, Muslims do here. Like there are things happening in schools and stuff like that, but they cover it all up because they don't want the bad press. They want everybody to think that we're this glorious place that nothing bad ever happens. So what the white kid,
I remember some Republican once said that the longer it takes to identify the shooter, the less white and or Christian they are.
Yeah. Well, it took three. It started off as 3 suspects. It quickly went to 2. The one that they have, the white guy, turned himself in. He called 911 himself within 17 minutes because he regretted what he had done. And the other one was apparently a shooter, but now he's a witness. So it's like I really don't trust the media because they keep changing the story too drastically.
Mm-hmm. Well, I did see a like regarding the Quebec shooter guy. I did see like his Facebook. He was a fan of Donald Trump's.
Well, I don't doubt that he was a white nationalist. I mean, I'll refer you back to it being Quebec, where they don't like anybody who doesn't speak French, like even other Canadians.
So it's like that environment that probably sparked that more than Donald Trump's rhetoric.
Yeah,
I remember one of the narratives is that a Muslim and a white nationalist teamed up to kill Muslims. Like that was one of the narratives.
Gregory Hurst says Trump could give a kid a lollipop and the headlines would read Trump threatens child with diabetes.
Yes. Exactly that.
I love it. Yeah, it's just any move and you hear it, you heard it right after Trump got elected. A lot of the media got together. The fringes of the mainstream media, like Keith Olbermann and people like him, got together and were like, well, we have to resist. And the Democratic Party, we have to resist every move this man makes. Every move he makes, we need to resist it. And that's what they're doing through the media, through the fringe media, and through the Democratic Party. They're just resisting everything he does. And it's riling up their supporters.
Yeah, it's kind of pushing everybody further to either side. Although everybody I see taking tests today, though, proves otherwise. But
yeah, I keep seeing that compass pop up on, I did this. Here's where I stand. I'm like, okay, well, let me do it. And I was right. I was just right leaning, just a little bit libertarian.
Yeah. Well, I always figured I was pretty central, and yeah, very close to center. Same with you. You're very close to center.
Yep. Yeah. You're just a little bit on the left and I'm just a little bit on the right. It's kind of
we answered a couple questions just slightly differently. You probably picked one that was strongly agree where I went like agree, little things like that.
Yeah. George Adai says, Brad, you mean George Soros is paying to resist Trump?
Well, yeah, isn't he the one who funded the Women's March? That's what I heard anyway.
Well, he funded like 75% of them, yes.
And somebody's funding Antifa or whatever the hell they're called. So
Anti-fascist.
Yeah, I heard about that there's websites where they're recruiting people and they're paying you like so much a month for a retainer plus like $50 an appearance, and it's like damn.
Wow. I went to the Women's March and I went to I went to the Women's March, and I went to the anti-Trump protest or whatever, the LGBT here in Austin at the state capitol. And man, there were all types there. I don't understand how they even come together, because they just they're all just so, what's the word I'm looking for, out there in their ideology. And like, someone was holding up a sign and said unicorns deserve rights too.
What?
Wow.
I'm like, huh?
Unicorns. Other kin?
What the fuck is a unicorn? Do you guys know what a unicorn is? I don't know.
It's probably under the branch of other kin, where some people believe.
No, I think they just mean unique people who are like the extraordinary minorities, where there's like, one of them.
Oh, come on, you have rights. I mean, what? Tell me, can anybody tell me one right that they don't have? Just one.
Well, see, what it is learning this from watching, what is it, Jordan Peterson's debates, that when you go to fill out a form and there is not a little checkbox for your speciality, that is abuse.
Oh, my Lord. Violence, as Riley describes it.
Yes, I've also heard it as described as violence, but I'm being lenient and saying abuse, because they see that and it causes them harm. It's like, piss off.
Right. So now these people are also like for the environment, right? Now what's going on is they're killing more trees to add more check boxes for your gender.
Yeah.
And all the signs they left on the ground.
There is a couple, like in Ontario, like they removed just the male female from the health cards, and now there's talk of them doing it to the Canadian passport as well, like just removing gender altogether. And that almost makes it sound like a simpler solution than trying to have all these effing check boxes.
Right.
You know
but
what I mean? Just screw it. If you don't want to be male or female, then you can't be anything. You're just a person then. At first I thought it was stupid, but now I'm like, you know what? It's actually kind of genius. Because then they won't be special anymore.
In a way it is, but at the same time, like, wouldn't that make it more difficult to identify like criminals?
I thought about that, but
it's Canada.
Not really. Because I mean, if you're
no criminals in Canada, that's right.
Well, no, if you're going trans one way or to the other, and you're dressed up like a tranny, and you go up there and like it says male, but you look female, does it really matter? Because you're still going to get let on.
Right. Oh yeah, Lauren Southern is a man according to the Ontario government.
Yeah, and it took her like 5 minutes. She like walked into any doctor's office. It's like, yeah, I want to identify as a man. Okay, we'll fill out the paperwork. Here you go. You're a man now.
Yeah.
Wait, she hasn't changed it back yet?
No. She still has it that way just to mess with people that she interviews.
I'm leaving.
You're in Canada. Has Justin Trudeau done anything good?
No.
Nothing.
Not a damn thing. Like he basically ran on the premise of, hey guys, all you kids, elect me. I'm cool. I'm going to legalize pot. And
I'm an SJW.
The only thing he's done thus far is he's actually cracked down more on medical marijuana, and he's actually made it harder and like closed down some places because of his own legislation. Like pot was supposed to be legal at the beginning of this year. Like that was his promise, and there's been no talk of it because he's more interested in foreigners. And there's certain countries, they're dead set against drugs, and that's who he's trying to attract over here. So you can see the conflict there. He won on that. Like he's basically been campaigning since he started into office here. Like that's all he's been doing is just like campaigning and doing photo shoots and cucking himself out to every dictator and communist country he can. I
mean, he is charismatic and very pretty. So,
well, yeah, that's all he is.
Prince Charming.
His wife's the one with the balls, not him.
So one thing I don't see, I mean, okay, so one thing that kind of has scared me, and I've been kind of vocal about it on Twitter, but not really on my channel yet. One thing that concerns me, with like the Muslim ban and the different executive orders that that he has put in is that he's put in so many executive orders. I mean, I get that he has a 100-day plan and that he's fulfilling his campaign promises. And while that's refreshing, there's a little, I don't know, a little feeling of disconcertion. I'm disconcerted by the way he's fulfilling his campaign promises.
Like he'll over abuse the executive orders.
Like he's overreaching. Yeah. Like he's really.
I mean, there are some things in his 100-day plan that he has to go through Congress, and Congress doesn't like Trump. So, I mean, it's majority Republican, but they're not Trump Republicans.
Right.
Yeah.
The Republican Party has kind of split up a little bit into like Republicans and this new type of Republican that has yet to have a name.
Nazis.
Trumpian.
Oh, Nazis.
Nazis.
I think the official term is the new right.
the new right. So that's like alt-right, the new right. Jesus Christ.
I don't know. I say the Democratic Party is in a bigger confusion than the Republican Party.
Yeah, are they still kind of like split because of Bernie, or did that whole thing die off? I haven't really been paying attention too much to them. They're all just crazy
apparently, like every faction is kind of fighting for control. There's like the Bernie Democrats, and then there's the George Soros Democrats, and then there's the SJWs, who are kind of just minions to George Soros Democrats, and then there's this other group of people that are all just kind of fight for control of the Democratic Party, and they're just tearing each other apart.
Okay, that explains why I'm confused. Because it's pretty much what I'm seeing. It's just
it's just a bunch of split off factions trying to fight for control. Like even Obama came out and said, Obama said that he doesn't want like Bernie Sanders and the rest of them to take over the Democratic Party because I don't know.
Natalie Wollerton brought up a good point, asking, does anyone know anything about why people are saying to delete Uber? That's because when the taxis went on strike because of the Muslim ban, they weren't going to service the airport. And Lyft went along with that. Uber did not. Uber still serviced rides to the airport. So everybody's all pissed off that they kind of made their strike meaningless and just made money off of it. And so they're saying, delete the app. Don't associate with this company anymore. Don't use them anymore.
Funny thing is that a lot of Uber drivers are Muslim and immigrants and refugees. Just.
Well, it's kind of taxis in general, from what I've noticed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But so Uber was just like, we're gonna make money and we're gonna serve the airport.
Apparently, Uber's CEO has always is on a board of Trump's, and I don't know if he's always supported him. Like he supported him since the beginning. So yeah, people are saying, oh, it's the Nazis taxi service or something.
Oh, it's too much.
Hilarious. That's hilarious. I mean, but at the same time, it's kind of sad, right, guys? Like, let's be honest. Our country is so fucking divided right now.
It is.
Our country is a mess right now.
Yeah, although I have to admit, the States is probably one of the better ones.
I'll still say
a lot of the other ones are like
have a lot of our shit together more than a lot of countries.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because like we haven't gotten to Europe or Canada level yet, and
I mean, but what we're seeing is constant protests since Trump has taken office. There's just been constant protests about his power, about him
keep getting beat up.
Him just being there pisses them off to no end. They don't even know his policies, but they're bitching and screaming and crying, and it's very, very scary to see it.
Because he's a straight white male, Brad.
You want a wage gap? Because this is how you get a wage gap.
Oh, let me see here. I'm trying to see what the chat's saying. Oh, take them in the streets and hang them.
Middle Eastern style.
So what do you think is coming up in Trump's 100-day plan?
Apparently he already completed another one. He lifted regulations, a lot of regulations on small businesses, so it's easy for them to grow and make money.
Good.
Fucking yeah. I mean, we need to see more regulations lifted, but at the same time, we need to make sure that we're taking care of our environment, and I want to make sure that is something that we need. That's something that he focuses on, but it doesn't seem like that's something he cares about at all, at all.
Well, that's only
going back to the 100 days plan. I'm so surprised he went through with the wall. I did not expect him to. I thought that was just a grand promise that he was never going to fulfill. But the first president to actually follow through on his promises is Trump. So
yeah.
Definitely. And while it's kind of scary how fast it's moving and what's actually happening, a lot of it is stuff that's been put in place by previous administrations that have just been discarded or ignored. And he's putting in executive orders to follow through on those things that we already voted yes on. Like the wall was already something that was supposed to be done like back from Bush's administration, but it just sat there and was starved of funding. And so now he put in an executive order to find funding to build that wall.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I mean, it's their only border that's not secure. It makes sense to secure it.
Mexico has a wall on its southern border.
Right. So and you know, if Mexico would just get their shit together and not be so shit to their people, then maybe we wouldn't have immigrants fleeing in droves across the border.
Drug cartels hold the most power in Mexico.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and that's exactly what's going on. So, I mean, the Mexican president has a 12% approval rating.
Wow.
So
I don't even think Trump's was ever that low.
No, Trump's is still something at like 40 something.
It went from apparently I think the lowest it ever got was like in the mid 30s, and the highest it ever got to was 60. Like right before the Muslim ban, it was at its highest at 60.
Yeah. The Muslim ban just drove him fucking down. But I mean, again, it's something that Obama put in place that Trump is just ordering executive action on.
Well, he did take it to the next level.
It was about time.
I mean, I want to know what the next level was.
No, apparently Obama only restricted refugees, and Trump took it to the next level by it affects green card holders, visa holders, and refugees.
Well, I mean, we see a lot of people with green cards going back over because they have this dual citizenship thing, going back over, getting trained, and coming back. This is something that we have seen, and the CIA has mentioned several times during Obama's presidency.
Yeah, the CIA even said that it doesn't that you can't properly vet every refugee.
Exactly. Right.
And members of I think Obama administration people said like, yeah, it's not a foolproof plan. A lot of people can get through the cracks. I'm sure there's extremists here in the country. They just haven't acted out yet.
Right.
And yeah, there's like really, how do you vet that? You know, like what do you it's kind of the honor system. Like you're gonna grill everybody that comes back.
Right.
It's
well,
I think that would be the best, but people will say, well, that's kind of abuse of power.
What they were doing was they were like the people who were being detained when that executive order first went into effect, were their social media was being looked through. I mean, they were trying to vet them in the best way possible, what they say every day. Yeah, and then they were released. One funny clip that came from there is like one of the people who were detained. He was asked his opinion about Trump. He's like, "Oh, I like Trump." Yeah, he didn't really. He didn't have a problem with it, but I don't know. Yeah, SJWs don't care. Nope. So I mean, and another thing Another executive order he signed makes it possible to actually round up the people who are here illegally and kick them on out, put them back in Mexico. What do you guys have to say about that?
He's gonna put back legal people. That's the
No,
first I've heard of
illegal.
that one. Okay, I was gonna say. I thought you said.
Well, I
legal.
remember Trump said that he was going to get rid of criminals first, and then
Yeah, the criminals that he knows of that are here illegally,
Well, yeah, absolutely.
get rid of them.
And he's
get
going
them
to
out.
stop funding sanctuary cities, from what I heard.
Right, exactly. Yep. Any city that considers itself a sanctuary city gets its funding removed.
well, I think
Yeah,
cities
it's
like New York City can survive on its own, or because of all the money that goes through there.
Uh-huh.
So it doesn't matter to some cities, but I'm sure most cities would be hurt by it.
Yeah.
some, I'm sure. It's an absolutely good idea. I mean, it's not great to have illegal citizens in that high of a quantity or at all, but I don't get the whole push of the other side saying, well, they should be allowed to be here. Everybody, you don't own America, doesn't own America. Like, what? It's that whole like sovereign citizen push. Well, that's what I mean by America. It's like the government. But they wanted they look at it more like the citizens or the natives rather even own the land, and they don't have no regard for anybody else, especially white people, the colonists.
Right. So the natives don't own the land anymore. We have poured trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars into this land. We own it. We have bled for this land. we have paid for this land. It is now ours. I'm sorry. The natives do deserve some respect, but they don't deserve.
Tried, but they lost.
What?
Nothing.
Oh well, I could go on for a long time about the ones in Canada, because as of Trudeau, he's been just pouring more and more money into it and giving them more and more power to do what they please, and they've already have quite a large amount of power about what they can do with the land. Like they don't have any restrictions on what they can do compared to what we can do.
Right, exactly. And so I mean they can build casinos on reservation land, even if gambling is illegal in the state.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that happens here in the United States too, but the natives should not be the hinge point that everything is decided on. I mean, I get it. We should give them respect. We should give them, their proper dues, but we should not decide everything based on what the natives think. That's my problem.
I think there should be some level of integration by this point, like further than what they have. You can still keep your culture. Like when I grew up in Niagara Falls, and like at least half the population was like Italian, and they kept their culture, but they integrated just fine.
Right. When I was driving from Texas up north, I drove through place in, I think it's Kansas, it was Oklahoma, where most of the land that we were traveling through was native owned. It was reservation land for a good portion of time. And it was just casino after casino after casino after casino. And I'm like, damn, lots of casinos on reservation land. But that's how they make their money. That's how they support the rest of the reservation, because the government doesn't give reservations a lot of money to sustain themselves. So they have to actually make it themselves. They're kind of like their own independent little state in a way.
Yeah, I think ours are very similar to that, but they are regulated probably more heavily than yours are. I'm not completely sure about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like ours are like RCMP, like our special police, or would handle those, because it's the northern communities where there's really not a whole lot going on.
Right. Huh. Yeah, I mean, when I was living in Michigan, there was most of the Upper Peninsula was Native American owned land, and there were a lot of different little reservations up there. So I mean, I don't know. I think what we're doing is great, and we're making sure that they get a little bit of their own freedom, a little bit of their own land, but at the same time, we're defending them. We're it's the land that America is paying for and defending, and we the majority of America should kind of have a say in what goes on. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't like how it's all about maintaining the culture, but they have to be like separated to do that somehow.
Exactly. Right.
That's what I was getting at with the Italian thing. Like they had no problem maintaining their culture amongst a bunch of other cultures, and I don't quite understand why the natives can't do the same thing.
Right. I mean, and that happened with especially in like New York and Chicago. The Italians really really kept their culture there amongst the Irish and all the other people who were coming over. But it was, but they're not separated. They're not doing anything like that or demanding anything. But they kept their culture. The Italians have their culture, and the parts that the rest of the United States we picked up. So the boycott Starbucks thing is still trending on Twitter, unfortunately. Do you think
it was about that the Starbucks said that they will hire 10,000 refugees, and apparently some people got pissed off at that. A whole variety of people got pissed off at that. Like I from what I saw, it was Republicans, and I saw a few like black conservatives who were like, there's plenty of black people who need those jobs.
Yeah,
like pro-black people were like, oh well, who were pissed off that Starbucks was giving jobs to refugees and not black people.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I saw that, and I also saw that trumpets were upset that that they were kind of doing that in a way of kind of standing in the way, resisting Trump's Muslim ban.
I think it is a complete virtue signaling move, but I don't know. I guess
it's a marketing move. It's absolutely for marketing.
There's no doubt about that.
What are they going to do when they find out that like the 10,000 that they hire can't speak English or whatever language of the country? Because it's worldwide, apparently, not just.
It's worldwide.
Yeah, it's worldwide. So, like, fine, in the UK, there's tons of refugees, but what's the UK going to say about that? Hey, we've got tons of people here who need jobs.
Well, that's the thing about franchises. You can kind of control that to a certain degree.
Yeah. Let me see here. I honestly agree with a lot of stances that Starbucks have taken in the past, and this is another stance I personally support, says Natalie Woolerton on the chat here. So I don't think it will have a positive impact. I don't think that hiring refugees when people in the country that are from the country need jobs is the right thing to do. I really don't. It's a marketing virtue signal. That's all it is, and all it does is hurt the population that are citizens of these countries.
Well, yeah, I mean, are they going to fire 10,000 people and hand over those jobs? Is that what's going to happen? Or do they just happen to have 10,000 positions available?
If they have fucking 10,000 positions available, then why the hell haven't those already been filled by people who are looking for jobs?
They had to take them to virtue signal at some point. They were just sitting there like,
yeah. I don't know. I don't support a boycott of Starbucks. But I'm angry and triggered, let's boycott Starbucks, but it's gonna make me think twice about ordering an extra coffee there.
I was gonna say I don't go there anyway.
Yeah.
No, me neither. I've never been to a Starbucks.
I've been there once or twice, but I was like very disappointed in the coffee. Here in Canada, we have this thing called Tim Hortons that's like on every corner, and it's fantastic.
Oh, we had Tim Hortons in Michigan. Fuck
off. It's a fraction of the cost. Instead of an extra large coffee is like $2 instead of whatever the tall or grande that's like $6.
Yeah. They Gregory Hurst said, "How about they open a Starbucks in Syria?"
They probably have one there. I wouldn't be surprised.
Or better yet, open one in one of those refugee camps that Saudi Arabia is setting up.
No, Tim Hortons is not the Canadian Starbucks. Do you guys have like Donut Diner or anything over in the States? Because that's what we would be like.
It's kind of like Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, it's kind of like Dunkin' Donuts.
It's not overpriced. It's lower. It's on the lower end, but it's still good.
Right. I like Starbucks coffee, but only if it's flavored. I don't like go in there and order a regular cup of coffee because it's kind of bitter and shit.
Really, Rogue? You're going to go there and try to say that McDonald's is better coffee than Tim Hortons?
Oh, fuck you, Rogue Thread.
Exactly. Get the fuck out of here with that. Trolling our chat.
Banned. Oh my god. So I've been on poll recently, and they're going on and on about how they've memed a president into office, and now they want to know what to do with this power. It's amazing. You just constantly see threads that say, "What do we do now?"
I don't know that they actually did anything.
Celebrities,
but okay.
That's what they're doing. Like some alt-right trolls got J.K. Rowling into an argument with them. It was just hilarious.
Yeah, it's hilarious. So I love how I was arguing with Cat Black on Twitter. If you guys don't follow me on Twitter,
what are you doing with your lives?
What are you doing with your lives? I was arguing with her, and she kept falling for every bait that I kept laying. And it finally got to the point where she's like, "You don't like me. I get it. Cool." I'm like, "I don't know you. I can't not like you. I don't like the things you say." And then I'm like, "Maybe we should work together. You and I have a couple of causes that we both believe in that we can work on. Nothing. So she only wants to argue with me."
Oh yeah.
That's all.
I don't know what the hell's up with that one. Just another nut bar making money off the exploiting the situation.
Well, MTV may not let her do collabs with people that they don't agree with.
Wait, she works for MTV? Wait, who are we talking about? Cat Black?
Yeah, Cat Black.
You work for MTV?
She's done MTV videos.
Well, that doesn't mean that she works for them. It could just be a collaboration. You know, like a lot of people do that.
Right. Or she could have a contract with them.
True.
Tim Smith. I don't know who this is. I guess it's a new viewer. Tim Smith says Brad's a troll. On some days. Brad's a troll. Yes.
More of a shit boy.
He's a masturbator.
I get bored and I'm like, "Oh well, let's troll Twitter today."
You don't even have to. You just like go find someone and just say something reasonable and watch them explode, or they'll block you.
Exactly. It's amazing. I
have a question about the Uber thing. Is Uber any good? I've never done it. Is it any good?
I've taken an Uber before. It's pretty interesting. It's awkward. But why is it
awkward?
Because it's like this guy's personal car. Like, and you know, he's got his kids' toys in the back, in his hatchback, and you can see him, and it's just awkward. It's somebody you don't know.
Uber driver.
Yeah, it's someone you don't know. It's awkward. It's weird. But other than that, I mean, it's cool.
I don't know. I find normal taxis awkward. Like the one I took back from the airport, like the guy just wanted to talk the whole way, and it was just awkward because I'm like, I don't know anything you're saying, dude.
Was he speaking a different language?
Well, he didn't really know our language that well, but he was good enough that I could understand it. But it was just weird.
Accent.
I'm used to thick accents. It was just more the content because he's from a different country, so we don't have anything relatable to really talk about. So he kind of asked me a few questions and then just like kept probing, and it was just kind of weird.
Yeah. I don't know. The guy that I rode with in the Uber, He just wanted to chat. Like, he was just asking me questions, and he just wanted to chat and chat and chat. And while it was a great chat, it was still awkward. I was like, I don't want to chat. I don't know you. I don't know. It was weird.
Okay, that's kind of
I'm shy in real life. Okay.
Danica Lee made a good point. So she just looked it up, and Starbucks has just over 23,000 stores worldwide. So that means that less than half their stores will get maybe one employee. So yeah, it's very much a marketing ploy then.
Right. Let's see. Taxis are dead. The
Well, I mean,
taxis were pissed off.
Oh yeah.
The taxi cab drivers were pissed off that Uber was scabbing.
Well, people were pissed off when Uber first came around too, so it's not surprised.
Yeah.
Just because of how like unregulated they are, and you can pretty much have anybody driving. It's not the same vetting process as an actual taxi driver.
And you make a lot more money as a Uber driver. You make a lot more money.
Oh, I believe it.
And you're in control of your hours as an Uber driver as well. I mean, basically, you just drive when you want to.
From some of the taxi drivers I've talked to, it's pretty much the same thing, unless it's depends where you are. In the bigger cities, it is more you can do your own hours, but it's very competitive.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't know about that. And in the cities I've lived in, there's been a taxi company, and they're like, you have to work this many hours every day, check in here and work this many hours every day. So I don't know. I guess different cities are different, and plus you're in Canada.
Yeah. Well, the only place I know that actually had like a set shift is when I was in the Arctic, and that was because they're flat fare and there wasn't nearly as many drivers.
Right.
Although there was like 5 or 6 different companies, which is really weird.
Yeah. Data Wasteland says, ever see Car2Go? Yeah, actually, there's a bunch of them in downtown Austin. Saw a lot of them over the last weekend before this one.
Drivers are Ubers.
Car2Gos. It's basically you go to this car that is just sitting on the street, and if you have a car, you open it up, and you can drive that car to wherever you want and leave it at a spot for someone else to pick up when they need a ride. It's kind of like that. It's a car sharing program.
Oh, that's kind of cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I never used it because I don't know how to drive, but that's cool.
Does Uber do background checks now?
I don't know. That's just commenting to Sister Danger because she mentioned there's a process to register. Well, I know there's a process to register, but in the beginning there was no background checks, and there was
there's like a kidnapper who uses Uber to kidnap people. I'm just being pessimistic.
Yeah, but you can do. Well, I don't know about the States, but in Canada we have this thing called background check, where you go to the police station and you request a form to show and prove that you have no criminal record, and then you hand that in. I had to do that for security.
I know Lyft is banned here in Austin.
Why?
Because it's either Lyft or Uber. One of the two are now banned in Austin because they don't do background checks, and they don't follow the same rules that the taxi companies follow. So the taxi companies basically lobbied to get Lyft and Uber kicked out.
Mm.
Well, yeah, your car definitely has to meet certain standards. You send them pictures of your car. Sorry, Sister Danger said, I know your car has to meet certain standards. Yeah, you have to send pictures in of your car, and you have to prove that it's clean and
safe.
And safe. Yeah. Tesla. I don't think Tesla is banned in Texas. That's what Data Wasteland said. I mean, we have Tesla dealers. We have like 3 of them here in Austin.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think, isn't that kind of everywhere?
Yeah, especially in Austin. Like, Austin freaking loves Tesla.
Although they don't have the charging stations like they thought they would.
Not
yet, anyway. Because even in the Netherlands, I noticed that like they had the odd spot. So if someone else was there, man, you could not charge your car. It'd be like one per street kind of thing, like just a little port.
Yeah. Yeah,
And they are
something about
packed.
Tesla though. Something about Tesla though was banned. There was a thing. It was like they can't sell direct to the consumer here in Texas. I think it is that they can't sell direct to the consumer. They have to do it online or something like that. But there are Tesla places here in Austin that you can go to, and they have the cars on display there. And I guess they work out something where you can purchase it. That's all I know.
What are they going to do? Stop you from driving one in?
Right. Let's see. I see Volts more than I see Teslas around here, though. But I do see quite a few Teslas. Electric cars are good now, but we got to make sure we keep making innovation. Yeah,
that was my question. I posted it in the chat. Are electric cars still improving? Are they becoming more available?
Yeah, they're definitely becoming more available. With the advances that Tesla and Chevy and a few other companies have been making in the field, it's become cheaper to make electric cars. Therefore, they're becoming more available to the average consumer.
Yeah, those hybrids were ridiculous when they came out.
Yeah. The biggest problem I see is the lack of charging when you're away from home. The lack of charging stations.
Even a lot of states or cities don't have charging stations. Like I think it's mainly in California and probably like the big cities. Like I doubt a small town would have a charging station.
Right.
I actually don't think I've seen a single one in the region that I'm in. And I mean like the region, not just the town.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I'll say like here in Austin, every few blocks or so, there's like 4 or 5 in the more densely city area. There's like 4 or 5 every few blocks or so that you can plug into, but that's very few compared to if everybody were driving electric cars.
Well, then if companies that would like gas companies or whatever just using would just evolve to make it more available then.
Yeah, I think isn't that one of the issues, the charging rate? They can't quite have them fast enough to just pull over and top up.
Yeah. I mean, Tesla's working on that. Tesla has this new fast charging system that can have your car fully charged in like 15 minutes or some shit. Like it's crazy.
Damn. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like that's what they're kind of waiting on to get it a little more mainstream because nobody wants to pull over and stop for several hours.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. But the batteries have to be able to handle it, right? It has to be a system that is designed to be able to do that. Otherwise, you're going to vent your batteries. They're going to explode, and it's not going to be good for anybody. So, no.
What were those things? Those stupid little things you could ride on? Like, I can't remember what they're called. They kept exploding. Those, you just stand on them, and it's like 2 wheels.
Yeah.
Without the handle.
Yeah, it's I forget what they called it, but yeah, it was like, and all you had to do was like move around, and it would follow you.
No, you stood on it.
Slow down. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like you move around on it. Yeah,
hoverboard. That's it.
Hoverboard. Yeah,
thank you, Rogue. Yeah, they kept exploding. That's what I just think of with the cars.
Yeah, and so like the Volt. It's able to do like it has like 40 miles or so on battery, and then it has an engine that will kick on and provide electricity. All it is a generator, really. It provides electricity to continue your drive if you run out of battery.
Yeah.
So that's a kind of like new kind of hybrid. And I think those are a lot better than like a car that's just battery. because you can get maybe 130 miles in something like a Tesla. But if you're taking a long trip or whatever, you're screwed. you just sit in and be like, well, now I have to wait hours to continue my trip because every 120 miles or so. So like the Volt is a better example of a car that looks good and also performs well. Why are we talking about green vehicles, by the way?
I have no idea. That's what happens when you talk about
because
Starbucks.
I asked about Uber and
you go all hippie.
You go all hippie talking about Starbucks. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Talking about energy, do you have an opinion on the Dakota and Keystone pipelines?
Oh, I keep getting asked about this one.
It's not a terrible idea.
Here's my thing. I get it. Like, we need to stop relying on fossil fuels. We're gonna run out of them eventually, and we need to stop relying on them. But right now, it's what we have, and we need to.
There's a simple solution.
Yeah, one of the
to that,
arguments
but they don't
was
want to
that
do
if
it.
we build the Dakota access and the Keystone, it will help us get because right now we have a very foreign independent.
It's about 10 years back or so, Honda released a hydrogen car, and it lasted not long before it was pulled. And they basically put it out to test, and it was immediately pulled, and you never heard about it again. And the reason is because, well, if you don't know, hydrogen you just get from water. And all you need is one nuclear plant to produce all the bloody hydrogen gas you need for the entire country. And all the pollution you get from it, get this, it's water.
Right.
It would
people
solve
are
the problem
scared
instantly.
for nuclear energy because they don't want to Chernobyl, whatever that Russian
It's
thing.
the safest form of energy there is. A bunch of my relatives are working in it, and it's like what happened in Chernobyl and in China, or was it China? It's because they went cheap and they were retarded about it. But if you're not cheap and retarded about it, it's perfectly fine.
I would think, okay, why would Japan, of all places, be fucking with nuclear energy?
Because they need it. I don't know why they cheap out on it, but yes, I get the irony. I got so many people, you need the power.
When Fukushima, or however the fuck you pronounce it, happened, I was laughing my ass off. I was working in a call center, and I saw it pop up on the news, and I had to mute my mic because I was laughing my ass off. I'm like, really? Come on. The irony.
Yes, George, hydrogen is very explosive. However, it also rises faster than pretty much any other gas, so it doesn't pool. Like propane's heavier and kind of pools on the ground, but with hydrogen, it goes up extremely quickly. It goes airborne. It doesn't pool.
And it separates.
It's and that's for accidents on the road and whatnot with explosions. Darwin's law, taking people out.
It happens.
Gotta thin the herd, man.
But at the same time, you've got to make sure. I mean, I'm not usually for regulation, but when you're talking about nuclear, you actually have to be very, very stringent on your regulations on a nuclear power plant, because people end up getting hurt if you don't dispose of the waste properly. I've seen several cities of people just getting cancer because the nearby nuclear plant wasn't taking care of shit.
Yeah, well, I can understand that. I mean, that's what I mean. It has to be done right. You can't cheap out on it.
Yeah, exactly.
So we can find a better alternative. And frankly, solar and wind isn't going to quite cut it.
No. Well, solar has now just recently become the cheapest source of energy.
Is it effective?
Most efficient source of energy.
Well, not on cloudy days. It's the same thing with the wind. What do you do on the days when the wind's not moving? It's not going to do anything.
Yeah, during the winter, the sun isn't out all that much. So
yeah, exactly. What are you going to do for the rest of the time? You have to have an enormous battery supply to just have it, everything run on that. Unless you have every home equipped with their own battery supply.
Right. Well, we'll get to the point. We'll get to the point where we could run everything off of solar energy. There is estimations by scientists that if you take if you make a giant, like massive solar array in the middle of the desert, you could power the entire world, and that it's only as big as like one of these small countries out there.
Yeah, then they're not taking some factors in, like, well, you got to transport the power. You have to deal with erosion of sand on the glass. They don't have the greatest lifespan. I mean, they're getting better.
Right.
And once again, what do you do on a cloudy day? How do you store all that energy? Because it can't be a continuous output. Like Greenpeace had the brilliant idea to send solar cells up to the Arctic in Canada. And it's the biggest waste of money. And I'll tell you why. Because in the winter, when it's actually cold and when you actually need it, you get about 4 hours of light. You go up even further and you get several months where there's none. So sure, in the summer, when it's all nice and warm and hot, you get, 20 to 24 hours worth of sun. It's brilliant, but you don't really need it.
Right.
Not really. You don't need it for heat, which is the biggest concern up there.
Right, exactly. Why can't we just keep a nuclear plant in the middle of a desert so it's hundreds of miles from the nearest town? Asked Gregory Hurst.
We could.
Transportation of the energy.
Well, it's higher output, so it wouldn't be as bad. You just need boosting stations along the way. I can't remember what they're called.
Right. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know. But they do build them near towns a lot. And it's kind of unfortunate. But anyway, back to DAPL. The Dakota Access Pipeline. The natives are worried because their reservation's main water source is the one they're trying to run that pipeline under. And there have been accidents before with pipelines breaking and contaminating water supplies for people for years.
Well, apparently the DAPL is probably the safest pipeline ever built. I mean, there's the possibility is still there, but it's very, very small.
Right. They're building it with American steel. They're building it thick, and they're building it up to and above what the regulations require. But it still concerns the local natives who live on that reservation because it is their only water supply. I understand it. I get it. But the thing is we have to make progress on these things, or we're going to end up with a situation where the cost of oil is higher than it should be. And that affects everybody. It affects everybody's pocketbooks.
Well, that's why we have to get off of oil. That's why I suggest hydrogen, but they won't do it because, it's just too much money in oil.
Yeah.
As much as it's the thing, they don't want to break their dependence on it because it breaks way too much bloody money in, especially in taxes.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's when you have, but the thing is it's not on their land anymore. It's under a river. It has nothing to do with them anymore other than the fact that they're running it under their water supply. But there are tons of pipelines under tons of waterways here in the United States. And while breakages do happen, they don't happen that often. And we're talking about a brand new pipeline here that is built above and beyond specifications.
And they have shutoffs. So it's not like once it breaks, it's continuous. They will shut it off and it will be a minimal spill.
Right.
It's unfortunate.
Right. Now, the thing about fracking, though, I used to be all for fracking, like drill, baby, drill. But fracking has actually been proven to be the cause of one of the largest earthquakes in the continental United States in like a decade. Like, it was crazy. They do a lot of fracking in Oklahoma, and all of a sudden recently they've been coming up with a ton of earthquakes, really powerful earthquakes, and scientists are linking it directly to the fracking going on in that area.
Well, I guess if you're stimulating the fault lines, it's something's going to happen.
Right. I mean, you're forcing water down there to separate the oil from the shale and to bring it back up. And when you're forcing that much pressure down in there, you're bound to shake some things up. And we're seeing that that's actually what's happening.
It's actually the first I've heard of it. Interesting.
Yeah, and so earthquakes are happening where there's never been earthquakes before. I mean, you have in Oklahoma it's you don't expect them to be worried about earthquakes. It hasn't been a problem. But now all of a sudden earthquakes are crazy in that area. So you got to be careful. Our Earth is, while it may be big, it's still kind of fragile. Well, we're fragile, I guess, is the best way to put that.
The Earth will survive the human race, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The Earth will still be here. I can't speak for the animals and vegetation, but the Earth will still be fine.
Right.
We'll just ruin its very pretty look. We'll just tear that to pieces, but it'll still be here.
Well, nobody see it anymore, so who cares?
Well, I don't know. Aliens might come in a few thousand years, well, personally, I believe aliens are real, but they'll probably show up and be like, okay, what did these people do?
Yeah. I think fracking is a thing that we shouldn't be doing. And I really honestly believe we need to move off the fossil fuels. And that's why I believe we need another space race. I keep saying this. I'll say this every live stream. We need another space race.
But why?
That
There's
would get us
fuck all up there.
There's crazy amounts of awesome up there. And if
we don't have the technology to get to any of it efficiently or quickly, though.
That's why we need a space race.
Or to really do anything with it once we do. I mean, even a colony on Mars seems pretty freaking stupid. Like, what are you going to do when something happens? You know how long it was going to take to get help there?
We've already got companies coming up with ways and putting in patents and getting agreement from the governments to bring asteroids or comets closer to the Earth and mine them.
Oh, brilliant. That'll never go wrong. Someone accidentally misplaces the decimal point on the trajectory and then right into the Earth. Oh, brilliant.
Right. but there's companies actually planning on doing this. So we need to get off this planet. That's what I have to say. We need to get off this planet.
Oh no,
we just have to take better care of it.
We need to infest the rest of the universe.
Okay, but scientists
the entire current population of the world could like comfortably fit into Texas with the density of Japan. Like we're not overpopulated. That's just kind of too big of a number.
But scientists have already said that we can't stop global warming. It's going to fuck us up no matter what we do. So we need to get off the planet.
Yeah, but that could also just be the fact that you get ice ages every like 10,000 years, and it's just the natural orbit of the Earth. Because we haven't exactly been around like maintaining its or tracking it long enough to actually know what the elliptical orbit does all the time. And that's one of the things. Like it's been wondered if whether the poles do shift, and they kind of do. So it's just a matter of where you live. You have to kind of move around a little bit.
Right.
It's not going to be that bad. Even if it was like an ice age, I think we'd survive it with the technology we have. And just there wouldn't be as many of us that would survive it.
An uncomfortable annoyance probably. That's
well, yeah, Canada would be fine. We'd be like, fuck, it's Tuesday. You guys are all whining. What tell you all about it? And how you take care of it, eh?
So I guess you guys don't believe that climate change is man-made?
Are we talking about like
I believe
methane gas?
I think it's probably half and half, like man-made, but it's also natural. I think it's more natural than man-made.
It's a mix of both. Because like I know termites produce a lot of gas, and that's damaging, and we got nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
Supposedly the increase in cows, yeah, I could see that, but only to a small degree.
Mm-hmm.
overall, it's kind of iffy because a lot of the evidence they use, like for example, like they mentioned the ice melting. Well, more ice accumulates per year than actually melts. And yeah, it is shifting, but that's what they're doing. They're taking a picture of one spot and then a while later they're going, look, see, there used to be ice here. But it's like, well, if you look on the other side, there's more ice there now. Like it just moved a little bit. Well, there's a lot of people out there who are full of shit and they're muddying the situation. I'm sure there is true climate change going on. However, you get people like David Suzuki who would they're just media whores. So without that climate change, they don't have a job.
Mm-hmm.
True.
But the thing is like, I mean, we have scientists who go up to the Arctic and they take ice core samples and they see that the carbon is higher up there where there's no shit going on. The carbon is higher than ever before, and carbon has been proven to be a greenhouse gas.
Well, that comes down to like rain because it shifts. You know, where water evaporates in one spot, goes up in the clouds, goes over, rains or snows in that case, and accumulates there. It's not really that hard to figure that one out.
Right. Okay. I mean, I'm because I mean, I'm more on the side of believing that climate change is something that is just a natural cycle of the earth. That's what I truly believe. But I want to make sure that, you know, a critical view is looked at it.
I think it's
a critical look at it.
I think it's a combination of the two things. It's part of the way the Earth's rotation around the sun goes. Like it gets a little bit closer and then it gets a little bit further away over time. And it's also what we're doing to it because, yeah, we are spewing a ton of pollution. Like you go somewhere like big major city and you could taste it in the air. And in some cases, you could see it in the air because it's so nasty. Yeah, that's making an impact. We need to stop that.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to move to clean energies just because it's better for even in the short term. Look at China. You have to walk around. You have to walk around wearing a mask because you're going to breathe in particulates in the air that cause you to get sick. That's how bad China is.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like some places you could just plain out see it.
Yeah. In places like China, yeah, of course, like they're obviously affecting the climate, but I don't think it's still as big as a problem as people make it out to be. It is a problem, but not. But some of them overblow it.
Oh yeah, like Trudeau completely blows Canada's contribution out of the water, and well, you know, saying that he wants to work with China and whatnot, and then says that we're the bad ones. You know, it's like, oh yeah, the 30 million people spread over, you know, the second largest country is the problem. Are you kidding me?
Well, Justin Trudeau also agreed to the Keystone Pipeline, so I don't think you should listen to your prime minister because he kind of seems to bend to whoever puts pressure on him.
Yeah,
he doesn't have a spine.
Yeah, he's got no balls. They're in his wife's purse.
But as my mind pointed out, I think we definitely impact local climates.
Definitely.
And I mean, you see it, smog and all that other shit, and you got to be careful. You got to be careful. So I mean, I get regulation, I really do. But only to a point. Only to a point. That's what I'm saying. Because
there's a lot of scientists who are just milking it for money.
Yeah.
It's like the SJWs, you know, that do the gender studies, and they get into the field and they realize it's bullshit. But it's like, well, fuck, this is my career now. I got to come up with something.
It's my career now. I got to do it.
Yeah. What am I going to do? Go back to school? I can't afford it.
Get another degree. Hopefully this one isn't bullshit. I'm definitely not anti-science. Someone mentioned, what is this anti-science bullshit? I'm definitely not anti-science. But I think that the science can be interpreted in different ways. And we need to look at it. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not anti-science. I'm anti-scam artists.
Right. Right.
Because the reality is they can't all be telling the truth.
That's right. So I mean, but all I'm saying is if we push ourselves to get off the planet, we're going to discover more energy sources because we need to be able to sustain ourselves off of the planet. And that'll help us back here at home. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's a waste of resources, but hey, you know, that's just me.
All right. Well, I think we've talked this out. It's been a pretty good stream. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it was pretty good. I noticed we're starting to teeter off a little bit.
Exactly. So now it's time to cut her off.
Yep, that sounds good.
You guys stick around. I'll close us out. All right.
All right.
All right. I do want to thank Egal Matrus and I am the King 48 for joining me. Thank you guys.
No problem.
Anytime.
And I'm going to be doing more streams coming up here in the future. I've got more videos planned. I'm basically going to just start getting back into the groove of things. So I hope you guys stick around. Thank you for joining us. Get the fuck out of here.